Hey guys, it's Tim from the Spotlight, and I'm coming at you with another all-new, all-different Marvel review, this time of Squadron Supreme #1. Our story picks up 8 months after the end of the Secret Wars, where a new team has formed from a variety of refugees from a bunch of universes that were destroyed during the event. The team consists of Nighthawk from the Supreme Powers universe, Dr. Spectrum from the new Avengers line from Jonathan Hickman, Hyperion from Hickman's Avengers, the Blur from the new universe, and Power Princess from the original Squadron Supreme universe. They have all banded together and have trained for something that they don't say at the meeting itself, but they all decide to go after Namor, particularly for his hand in the destruction of Dr. Spectrum's universe. This leads to an all-out battle between the Atlanteans and the newly formed Squadron Supreme that will show you just how far this team is willing to go and how they're now going to operate. So, right off the bat, this book presents itself as our new team being one of those proactive superhero teams who actively go out and seek threats in order to put an end to them, usually through fairly violent means, with people saying that they're willing to go to the places that the Avengers are not willing to go, and things like that you hear all the time with these kinds of books. The book pretty much breaks down to, after the meeting takes place, it's basically just one huge action sequence between Namor and the Atlanteans and the Squadron Supreme. And then after that, it's one of those things that you see all the time of people responding on the news saying, I'm for this type of team, I'm against this type of team, they need to do this, they're monsters, they're villains, they're heroes, stuff like that. And just speaking personally, I'm just not a huge fan of that kind of book. It's just my own personal preference, and I'm not going to take off points for the book for that. But honestly, the way it presents itself, it's not the most well-structured of this type of thing. Like I said, most of it is just an action sequence against the Atlanteans, and then people responding through news reports. Half the stuff that they seem to be talking about in the news reports doesn't even seem to happen on screen, so it just sort of feels hollow, like we're not really getting anything full with this team. Sadly, with the exception of Dr. Spectrum and Nighthawk, this team is really very one-note. They go after Namor. They say that they're attacking Namor because he's been a threat to people in the past, and he helped destroy universes, even though he's not doing anything right now. And he says this to them, he points out the faults in their logic to them, and then they all use the same circular logic of, he's been a threat, so we have to stop him now, even though he's not actually doing anything and not actually a threat to anyone at this moment. And while universal destruction is nothing to scoff at, the way that the team is acting just makes them come across as petty and somewhat unlikable. I'm honestly not sure if, even if I was down with the proactive superhero angle, if I would want to follow a team like this continuously throughout a story. But now on to the positives. The art itself, especially on Namor, is actually pretty solid. It's iffy in some places, especially with characters' eyes, but overall it's very colorful and it works well for the book itself. And speaking of that, the action sequences in the book, while they take up most of it, is very dynamic and very engaging to look at. And you get to see a lot of layers to it, with each character doing various things. But all in all, I'd say that I give this book a 7 out of 10. It's an okay start. It sets up the premise well, at least in terms of what the book is going to be about with the proactive superhero team angle. But the team itself just doesn't come across as particularly likable in this issue. At least not enough for me to be interested in where they're going with this with the characters. Right now, I just want to see another team go up against them, which we are promised at the end, so there is that I can look forward to for the next issue. But hopefully we go uphill from here. But until next time, this has been Tim from the Spotlight, signing out.